This is Tom of Tom's Tech Show, and today we now know why, or I think I know why, this episode of The Mandalorian came out on the 18th instead of Friday the 20th. Let's talk about it. Hey there, this is Tom of Tom's Tech Show. I got done watching late last night the latest episode of The Mandalorian. I really liked it. Thought this one built a lot of stuff moving forward. But one thing we do know now is kind of why in this episode, see if I can forward to the spot. In this episode, something happens that so the Grief Karga character gets scratched by some creature flying around, and he's got poison in him, and he's dying, and all this, and lo and behold, it's a little dark here, but along comes Baby Yoda and puts his hand on him and completely heals him, which is now throwing right into the rumors of Rise of Skywalker, where Rey goes off healing everybody, and then Kylo goes healing people, healing Rey, and then dying, and everything else, and all this other stuff. So I think they wanted to be able to get this out so people could see this, to be able to say, see, it's really true. This is actually a Force thing that we had all along that no one ever told you about. So kind of trying to justify them doing what they're doing in the Rise of Skywalker, reviews of which I just watched Grace Randolph's review, and she's like, wow, this is bad. Let's slap something together at the last minute and see if we can make some money. Basically was what I took from her review. I don't know. I see it tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and I'll probably go live right after that. But wow. I do like that here. You can see this thing on his arm just looks like an iPod. They strapped an iPod or something to his arm. But so this episode was actually good. I liked it. It's starting to bring all the pieces and all the people together from the series to try and get everybody together. So Grief Karga here says they're going to arrange an exchange with the client because the Imperial, what remains of the Imperial troops have all taken over the city and everything, and he's trying to work away so that he can get back to doing his guild stuff to make money and all that. So they set up this thing where they're going to bring the child back and do some little switch, and then the Mandalorian's going to kill the client so that everybody else is going to, hopefully everybody else will run. But he first goes and gets some help, so he goes and gets it's Cara Dune to come in and help him, and he also gets Queel to come and help him, and it works out for the most part. They do get there, and I mean the story kind of moves along. He goes and gets her, goes and gets the other guy, then they all go to the planet, then they start off, and there's one point after. So they get attacked. They're camping out at night. They get attacked, and by some creatures. Grief Karga gets hurt, and then Baby Yoda saves him. Then the next day, when they're actually going to out and get towards the city and get ready to attack, then Grief Karga, instead of killing the Mandalorian at that point, which he was supposed to do, instead of doing that, he kills his people, his other mercenary people that are with him instead, because I guess we're supposed to believe that Baby Yoda saving him changed his whole mind about the whole thing and all that. So then they finally get into the city. They get at the sit-down meeting with the client, and they're getting ready for all this to happen. And let's see, it's if I get my notes way down here, somebody named Moff Gideon calls, and Uh, right after that, the whole building is just plowed through with laser bolts, and everybody, most of the stormtroopers are dead. Everybody else has hidden, and of course the baby's not there. The baby Yoda is with Quill, who's supposed to be heading back to the ship. Well, turns out all these stormtroopers are here, and a couple of stormtroopers on some speeder bikes are going to chase him down, and they shoot Quill, and they take the baby, and that's kind of where we're left off. Like we're doing a cliffhanger, I guess. Episode 7 and 8 are. It's kind of a two-parter, right? So, but all the different pieces that are, there's some twists, and things in this. They're bringing all of the characters together, so it seems like it's more of a cohesive episode of all these different pieces. I mean, you could have done, like 2 episodes with the 2 different people that you needed to bring along, so this could have been really shortened. I mean, it could have been, probably could have done this whole thing in 4 episodes, right? I mean, it could have been boom, 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 and, not had some of the other pieces along the way, but it means to an end, I guess. I mean, I was getting kind of tired of, there's no, this has all seemed dumbed down and simple, right? I watch other shows. I've been doing, my Orville shows, and I was watching Identity, going over that 2-part episode, and about how many things are going on, and how many things you have in many different characters, and how they're all interacting and everything else. And most of the first episodes of The Mandalorian are The Mandalorian and one other person, and not much else. Maybe a third person, so there's not a lot of different character interactions. There's not a lot of, character dynamics and how their relationships are and how these things work, and, seeing some of these characters and having them be just like, okay, you went there and there was one character, now you leave. Now we never see that character again. Well, I mean, they're bringing some of them together here in the end, but up until this point, before episode 7, it was kind of like, okay, we're just going to bounce around the galaxy, find a couple of people, and then just keep going on. Well, I guess we had to. You weren't doing that good of a job maintaining interest in some of these things up until this point. I think there needed to be some kind of. I think if they would have started giving away some things of the ending a little bit earlier. I mean, they had the one dark figure come up at the end of the one show where they were out in the desert and everything else, and stand there at the very end, but I think that was a little late. They could have done that a little bit sooner and had that following a little bit sooner through the episodes. Would have helped us realize, yeah, there is something bigger coming. So, but this does do pretty good, bringing all of it together. It's a good, 8.5 out of 10, I think, episode. The next one should be good. They got to get the child back. They got to get back to the ship. They got to get out of this situation with all the stormtroopers and everything here. So, should be pretty good. But we do now know, I think, why they put this one out on the 18th instead of the 20th. Because the general release of Rise of Skywalker is tomorrow, even though many people have seen it. And Grace Randolph's review is like, okay, here's the 2 things that are good. Now let's get into the bad. Just tons of things bad. And I'm just like, I know it's coming. Mrs. Tech Show does not want to talk about anything that's coming or any of the bad parts or anything else. But it's going to have to happen. All right. So I did like this one a little bit better. I mean, I'm hoping that this once they get to this part, I'm hoping that this kind of maintains when they do a season 2, that we're going to keep maybe kind of this format. Now that we know that it's like, okay, some slow steps in the beginning, first 5 or 6 episodes, and then the next couple of episodes bring it all to, it's like it could have been one movie, right, from beginning to end. kind of a small journey until then, boom, you hit the end. I guess if you watch them all straight through, I mean, Disney Plus does not allow you to binge, but I guess if you haven't seen it, then you get, and it's all the episodes are out. If you binge through them all, I'm sure it would end up being pretty good because it's only, like 25, 30 minutes each episode and getting through the whole thing. And then once you finally see the end, it ends up being like a 3-hour movie, which could actually end up being a good way to watch it. All right. So I got other videos to do. I still have Orville videos to do. There's a Rise of Skywalker video to do preliminarily before I go to head off to the theater tomorrow. And I have other actual technology videos to do on my show, which is based on tech, based on things that I like, things that I don't like, whatever's on my mind. Basically, I'll talk about maybe some photography stuff now and again. So if you like any of those things, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and basically all of your smaller YouTube channels, just like and share and subscribe to all their videos because that helps them and helps maintain YouTube and helps YouTube to understand that the small creators that are here are the ones that help build YouTube to become what it is. And now they've kind of flipped the tables and are kind of ignoring the smaller creators and only going with the big money corporation things and pushing their content more than anything else. So it's up to us, right? All right. Well, thanks for watching this one. Take care.